Hello class, this is my thread on ethnocentrism, and um, I actually just jotted down a couple of ideas that I had, and I hope they're not too abstract or confusing, but they were just a couple of thoughts that I had in terms of understanding ethnocentrism myself. The question was, what can we do to become more aware of our own ethnocentrism? And I wrote down that I think, I kind of gave an example. I think that we have a stereotypical or ethnocentric misconception that people who share the same skin color as we do and the same physical features should accept us or welcome us. And in turn, we should accept and welcome them. But that's so funny because it's not often the case. But that's just a funny example of, our own ethnocentrism. I did my Reflection 1 paper based on the idea that you can have two people from the same ethnicity, but they can have very broad cultural differences as far as how they were socialized and raised. The other question we had was said discuss the value of acknowledging the ways in which we judge others, based on our own frame of reference. And I kind of did that in the first question that I answered. But I was in the United States Navy for years, and I went to other countries. And sometimes prior to going to the other countries, there were misconceptions that we had about how the culture might be. The cultural norms there, and their traditions, their laws, their edicts, what they might do. And it's funny, a lot of times when we got there, I found that the things that we thought were not exactly true. And in my experience going to other countries, I learned also that they were always very willing to share their cultural differences in their traditions and their customs with us. And so I really learned to love cultural diversity and my views on my own ethnocentrism, views about ethnocentricity became more broad and more deepened. And I've always been the type of person to really be accepting, and so I've really always been open to different cultures. And I think as far as being ethnocentric, I think I'm one person that I would say I'm not very ethnocentric, and I try not to judge others by through filtering my own culture. I try to judge people based on just their unique value, and how when I meet them, what we can exchange from our interaction. So, my view is kind of different, but I was gonna say it's a funny thing, being coming to another country and actually being the people that are not part of the culture, and we're coming into the culture. A lot of times, I think we experienced in the Navy that the people had misconceptions about us, and they had different ideas about how we were. And I could it was very interesting. Like I said, you can have similarities in skin color and features. I remember when I went to Jamaica, and I talked to some Jamaican citizens, and also when I interacted with some African citizens, their view of American blacks was very, very different than what the reality is of how we live in this country, how our history in this country. It was very surprising. So that just goes to show that you know, it can work both ways. So while you're judging someone else, they can have many misconceptions about you. And sometimes it's great when you get a chance to interact and clarify some of those things, because there were broad misconceptions about Americans and American Afro-Americans in Jamaica and Africa. So that's all I have to say about ethnocentrism. I hope I kind of hit the spot on it, and it made sense to the class. So thank you so much.